Now, I've had this saw for ages, but I was coming to replace the blade, and the blade cost more than this entire saw, and this folding one that I could get with it as well was the same cost as a blade for this one. So I thought it's worth trying this because it looks fairly similar geometrically, and all the reviews and everything that talks about it suggests that they're really high quality saws. If you've never used a SILKY saw, then what most of them do, I don't know whether you'll be able to see that, but it has a tapered grind, which basically means that the saw end is wider than the back, which means that it doesn't bind when it's in a cut, because obviously if they're the same width, as that's cutting it away, this is going to be biting into the wood, getting friction. And this samurai, this version, the Ichiban, also has a tapered grind. You can get other ones that don't, but this one has a tapered grind, so you can see that it's just about C maybe. I'll try and get another camera shot, but you can see that it's fatter at this end than this end, so that as it's going through the wood, it opens it up. So let's have a look at the geometry. It feels nice in your hand, and that is a good position to be sawing from without a lot of the straight saws, a lot of pruning saws. The geometry, this one's curved, but the straight ones, they don't, like where you put your hand, it's really hard to, you end up cutting like this and your wrist is pumped after a pretty short period of time. So I like that it also has this type of geometry, because I've always liked this in that you can use it all day and your arm's not going to get your wrist isn't going to get absolutely knackered. So they're similar, but this one's probably, slightly more aggressive. I say aggressive, it's got a tighter bend. Has it? I think they're maybe fractionally, but it's pretty much the same. It's got these little finger slots and a bigger thing to catch your knuckle on, but it feels good. But I've never had any complaints with this either, but this does feel nice in your hand. You can see on this one it's got like these wheels that once you push it in, it's pretty securely in there. This one is just, the mechanism is just friction, and then it's a bit loose. It's not quite as good, but I don't think that really is going to matter. This one, both of them, you could leave that attached to your belt, and you can unclip that so that stays on, and you could unclip it if you want to just leave this on your belt. And this one also has the same function, but it allows a bit more in the way of rotation, whereas this one is just completely fixed, which might be handy, especially if you're up a tree and you need to reach for it. If you're in a different position, if you rotate, you're leaning back in the tree and you need to get it out, or you're leaning in a particular direction and you need to get it out. And that's why I like them, because these are very portable, they're useful, but although you can get a belt sheath, it's never going to be one-handed operation, because you've got to get it out, and you can't physically, I don't know what you could do. You could probably, if you really had to, you could get it out with your teeth. This is just some beech, which is about, I cut it earlier in the week. Yeah, it feels good. Ooh. as you can see, the teeth and the curve, this one's 300 millimeters. This one's, you can get it in the same size as this one, which is a 330. It's 30 millimeters longer, about an inch longer. But I don't think that 30 millimeters really makes very much difference at all. You can see there's a slight difference in the shape of this blade, and the Silky one is a bit thicker. The steel is a bit more solid, but that may be an advantage to have the flexibility, because it doesn't really matter how thick this is, you're not putting it through stresses that way anyway. And to be honest, it's just about how the teeth work, because you can't regrind these teeth, you have to buy a new blade. And given that the blades for this are about a third of the price of this, you could just buy more blades. So I would say that there's no way that you could say that this is 3 times better than this one, and yet it's nearly 3 times the price for the whole saw. And actually the handle on this one is nicer. But sometimes you're going to want to use it on deadwood. So if you found some standing deadwood you wanted to chop up for firewood, or whatever reason, it's a very good saw. Let's give it its credit. I've loved it for this amount of time. I just didn't realise that there was one that might be as good, but for loads less money. Actually, just the way it feels in your hand is really nice. Clearly it's going to be sharper because it's fresh out of the box. That feels incredible. I don't think I would go back to the Silky, to be honest. I don't think it's definitely not worth the extra money. And these are particularly useful, the curved blades, because obviously trees tend to be quite tall, so you're often working above your head height. So it's much easier to get over the top of the branch with a saw that's curved like that than if you've got one where it's like a straight saw and the handle's like at the same angle. Getting your arm over the top, you're absolutely knackered, your arm's burning like hell after just a few cuts. So yeah, for these Japanese pull saws, I think that this design just makes sense, whereas the massive folding saws, they don't make sense. Not to me anyway. If you like using them, obviously you're not going to change your mind just because I said so, but I think these are way more practical and they have a much more specific use that they fit way better.
You basically need arms like Popeye to be able to use those long ones. And if you ever do need a longer saw to reach up higher into branches, or to use two-handed, you can obviously do a double-handed pistol grip onto a normal saw like the one that I've been showing in the video, but also you can just lash the saw to a stick if you need that little bit of extra reach.
So overall, I would say that I think that they're just as good, if not better, than the Silkies. And when you consider the price, there's absolutely no comparison. When you look at the folding saws, you can see that some of them are like 17 quid. That's cheaper than a lot of the consumer type saws that you can buy in garden centres, and it is a professional quality tool. So I'm really impressed. I bought them from the Samurai Saws website. I haven't got any affiliation with them, or I'm not being paid for this, but that's the cheapest place that I could find them, including delivery.
So if you're interested in bushcraft or forestry or tree surgery or just a gardener, because of the price point of these saws, you're basically getting a professional quality arborist saw, but for a consumer quality price. I just don't see why you'd use any other types of ones. And I was put onto this idea by an old Wrangler Star video, and once I saw that you could buy them in the UK, that was enough for me. I thought I had to try it.